What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. Today comes with no comedy, no frills, no uh, push for, oh my God, can you believe what happened? This is more a warning. As we've watched over the years, especially during the pandemic, uh, as we went through the last federal election, Pierre Poilievre, of course, talking about the mass spending that went on within the government of printing money, inflation, what caused the inflation. We all know what caused the inflation. We all know about the billions of dollars not only gifted out to other nations, but also money printing, CERB, a number of other things that put more money into the economy and less value for our dollar. That being said, over the last year, the Bank of Canada has been lowering its interest rates. And again, this is where we start to see that the Bank of Canada is working in conjunction with a preferred Liberal government. They lowered the interest rates to try and prop up the Liberals, to make them look like, hey, things are better. It's not as bad as it seems. Since Mark Carney has taken over for the Liberal Party of Canada, we've all heard that apparently now inflation was caused by Donald Trump. The last 10 years, the last decade of Canada was caused by Donald Trump. It's all Donald Trump's fault. Well, now a stern warning has come from the Bank of Canada that things are about to get worse. And again, I know this isn't necessarily politics driven, but it affects our politics. It affects your future. It's something we do need to discuss so that people are prepared. Now, they're saying that things are going to head for recession. We already knew that. But now the Bank of Canada warning that things are going to get along the lines of the pandemic, which is funny given that Mark Carney, who is a banker, who's supposed to understand these things, is now in charge of the country and he can't right the wrongs to fix it. I know that he'll make the same excuses he made during the federal debates that, hey, I've only been here for a couple of months, give me a break. He's been advising Trudeau for a number of years. So there's no reason in the world that Canada should be thanking Mark Carney for the situation we're in. What's really funny is that once this happens, once this sinks in and our dollar continues to plummet, you're going to see a lot of people pointing fingers at Donald Trump. A lot of these sheep that are so easily swayed. No one's going to blame Mark Carney. Nobody's going to blame the Liberals. They'll blame Donald Trump. Let's take a look here. Warning from the Bank of Canada. 60% of Canadians will face much higher mortgage rates over the next 12 months. Job losses could spike. Defaults may surge. Liquidity could dry up, making credit hard to access. When the Bank of Canada provides a warning, this could get ugly. Here we go. Let's take a look at what Mark Nixon shared out here. And then I've got another clip to show you in regards to what we can expect moving forward.
12 months, particularly in households without a mortgage. For example, the share of these households that are behind on credit card or auto loan payments has continued to go up. Among households with a mortgage, about 60% are facing renewal this year or next. Most of those renewing will see their payments rise because they took out their mortgage during the pandemic when rates were at historic lows. But the average increase in payment will be smaller than we expected a year ago. Still, if a large shock causes job losses, it'll be harder for some households to keep up with their debt payments.
So what's funny about all of this is that they sit there and say, well, it's going to go up, but not as much as hey, silver lining, guys, it's not as much as we thought. The problem is, and then again, we've cited articles in the past year that have said that Canadians were within $100 of being broke. They have less than $100 for emergencies. They're one paycheck away from filing bankruptcy or being unable to afford their lifestyles, their bills, and when I say lifestyles, I mean like your mortgage, your utilities, your food, basic needs. This is the problem with our country, is our government doesn't want to fix any of these problems. It's just spiral downward and own nothing and be happy. I'll let her continue.
A prolonged trade war may be that shock. It would cause demand for Canadian exports to fall. It would disrupt supply chains, threatening jobs and incomes. Workers in trade-dependent industries could find it particularly difficult to continue managing their debt. A prolonged trade war would also matter for businesses. Most Canadian businesses have managed to adjust to past interest rate increases, and the surge in small business insolvencies last year proved to be temporary. But businesses in trade-related sectors, especially those with high debt, low profitability, or cash reserves, could also fall behind on debt payments. But if credit losses occur on a large enough scale, banks could cut back on lending in response. Struggling households and businesses would then have less access to credit to get through tough times. This cycle could exacerbate the economic downturn. In the non-bank financial sector, the growing presence of hedge funds in the market for Government of Canada bonds raises some concerns. Government bond markets are the foundation of the financial system, and they need to function smoothly for all other markets to work well. The increased activity by hedge funds has helped absorb increased issuance of government debt, keeping yields lower and liquidity higher.
So essentially what's being said here is thank God for fail-safes in place when it comes to bonds, but essentially she made very clear to point and cite out tariff war is what's going to cause this. There's no mention of the mass printing of money over the last 10 years, the scandalous behavior of our previous government or currently continuing government under different leadership. None of that's cited here. None of that is brought up to say, well, this could be a portion of why Canada's struggling. Maybe all the billions that were given away to other countries. Maybe the ridiculous amount of spending that we have going on in our country with printed money and our dollars chasing fewer goods. Nope, they cite the tariff war. Because apparently if anything happens bad in Canada, it's all Donald Trump's fault. If you watch this, Government EXE tweeting out as well, Tiff Macklem says Canada's economy survived the pandemic, but now faces its greatest threat. So these are higher than pandemic threats coming through, according to the Bank of Canada. Once again, cited a trade war that could cause a recession, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. So again, none of this is the Liberals' fault. It's all Donald Trump's. Quote down here, this is a lie. The economy never recovered from the pandemic. The Bank of Canada is promoting Liberal propaganda. They are. And this is where it gets into it. These guys are just on the sides of the Liberals. Of course they are. To each their own, or they look after their own. I'm just going to play a short clip of this because I'm just gobsmacked that some Canadians will accept this. There are sheep out there that will accept this, and they'll go to the streets and yell that it's all Donald Trump's fault. But there are those that really beg to ask the question, do they really think Canadians are this stupid?
Each year, the bank assesses the stability of Canada's financial system and highlights risks that could threaten that stability. The country's financial system has faced unprecedented shocks in recent years, and it has proven resilient. Households, businesses, banks, and other financial institutions weathered the upheaval of the pandemic and the sharp rise in inflation and interest rates that followed. It was a difficult period for many Canadians, and pockets of stress remain. But proactive steps taken by households and businesses, together with substantially lower interest rates, put the system on a more resilient footing heading into 2025. Now the Canadian economy and financial system face a new threat. A long-lasting trade war poses the greatest threat to the Canadian economy. It also increases risks to financial stability. In the medium term, a prolonged global trade war would have severe economic consequences. It would reduce growth and increase unemployment. This could, in turn, have important ramifications for the financial system.
How do you say gaslighting without saying gaslighting? Like, this is gaslighting at its finest. What's funny is all the libtards that are cheering this week saying Mark Carney absolutely defended Canada against Donald Trump. Oh, it was a slam dunk. I'm so grateful Mark Carney's our prime minister. Really? You still saying that when these kind of things come out? You still think that Mark Carney showed Donald Trump who was boss? Absolutely not. We showed the video here on the channel. Donald Trump absolutely smacked him around. He gave him nothing out of the room. He flat out said, "I'm not stopping anything," because that's just the way it is. This government, it's not Donald Trump's fault. This government allowed for it to continue. This government wanted to use Donald Trump as a weapon to get themselves into the office, into another term of Liberal government. This is what you get. You reap what you sow. If you're going to use Donald Trump as a weapon, Well, now they have to continue using him as a weapon because they certainly can't blame themselves for the outcome of Canada's economy. They certainly can't say, well, it's our fault. We've been careless. We've been reckless. They'd rather gaslight and say it's all Donald Trump. Please believe us. Please tighten your belts. Please know that when you can't afford your food, when you can't turn your lights on, when you get an eviction notice, when you're living in your car, a tent, God knows where else, it's not our fault. It's Donald Trump's. I am completely appalled by this. I know there's so many people who watch this channel that are already struggling, so many people trying to make ends meet. I really hope that this is nothing more than gaslighting, that it does not come to pass. I guess we'll see as time goes on, but very alarming news coming out of the Bank of Canada. News I certainly didn't expect. Again, I figured we might see some rocky times, but nothing to the degree of what they're preaching is going to happen right now. So for anybody who's been cautious, anybody who's waiting on what's going to happen to the world, saying, well, what's going to transpire with Mark Carney once he takes office, well, buckle up. Because not only is he going to put a carbon tax on the things that we purchase, he's going to run us into the poorhouse. He's running everybody, even if you make a decent living, into the poorhouse. Things are about to get real tough for Canadians. We'll keep our eye on it on this channel. And again, if anything else develops, we'll let you know. Let me know what you guys think down below. Are you prepared for a recession? Are you prepared for higher interest rates? What are you going to do if the bank would not allow you to extend credit? Let me know what's going to happen down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, I hope the video has earned your subscription. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Leave a thumbs up and a comment down below. It helps push us out in the good old YouTube algorithm. It helps people who normally don't see this channel see these videos. Tells them it's worth watching. So make sure to leave a thumbs up and a comment down below. Also, turn on your bell for all notifications so that you don't miss a beat whenever a video drops on this channel. Join me live tonight and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our weekly live streaming show, where I'm joined by the beautiful Mrs. Fringe as we go back and forth throughout all topics of politics this week, as well as everything we know that's coming up in the week ahead, and hear your Q&A inside of the greatest YouTube community on this platform. We both look forward to hearing what you have to say inside of those live streams, but I'm also looking forward to hearing what you have to say this Friday, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.